Hi, my name is Beth Azor, and I own shopping centers in South Florida. And this is my podcast, I Own a Shopping Center, Now What? So it is October 16th, and I want to share with you something I'm doing for one of my properties that has vacancy that I think you can do if you are listening to this around the time of the publishing of it. If you're listening to it later, you'll understand what I'm speaking about, and you can save it and bookmark it for you to do something with this advice next year. So I'm talking about seasonal or holiday pop-ups. So I have a shopping center, Shops of Arrowhead. It's 42,000 square feet. It's super successful. All of the tenants do really, really, really well. I think the revenues of the tenants are over $20 million, and it's a 42,000 square foot center, and not all of the tenants report sales. So super successful center. However, why do I have vacancy? I have vacancy because I can only, due to parking, put in pure play retail. What is pure play retail? A hobby shop, a shoe store, a boutique. And my center is successful because it has multiple restaurants, all killing it, and personal care service providers like nail salon, hair salon, massage. They kill it also. I do have the Caneswear store, which sells team sports, but definitely that is a destination tenant. And I have a hobby store, which is remote control cars and trucks. I would also say that is pretty much a destination tenant. And I just signed a lease with an orthopedic shoe store. And again, destination tenant. I don't think, even though we have great sales in my center, I don't think that a women's boutique would do well at all. Even though I have a very high performing nail salon, I just don't think I have enough traffic for a high-end women's boutique. So here I sit with 4 vacancies. And by the way, I have something called a ring road in front of my property that I've been lobbying with the Department of Transportation ever since I bought the center in 2008 to obtain that ring road that was originally built to house a bus route that's never going to happen. So I've been working with the DOT since 2008, or not working with them, but trying to get them to understand why they should either land lease or sell me the ring road so that I could add parking, and then I could lease any vacancy that I have remaining to food and beverage, which would probably average $60 in rent, triple net, and they would probably do over $1,000 per square foot in sales. I'm praying, I continue to lobby my town on the parking formulas because, for example, my parking formulas in my town where my property is located, which is the town of Davie, they required my pizza tenant Domino's that I have to provide 21 parking spaces for Domino's, which you and I both know that they need maybe 3 for delivery cars, which I make them park their delivery cars in the back. So I continue to lobby the town as I hear of other towns around the country getting rid of parking formulas. And I continue to reach out and come up with creative ideas to talk to the Department of Transportation to take back that ring road so that I can add more parking. Because if I had more parking, I could do more food and beverage or fitness, which obviously are the uses most desirable in October of 2024 in South Florida. Now, what does this have to do with seasonal? So I'm kind of the queen of the pop-up. And if I am canvassing and I walk into a toy store or a sneaker store or a tennis equipment store or a pickleball store, something that has merchandise and, just needs 1 or 2 staff people, I'm the queen of saying, come try a pop-up with me. And if it works out, maybe you'll stay longer. I did that with Caneswear. I had them do a pop-up for football season. I think that's 10 years ago now. They went from 1,100 square feet. I said, come do a pop-up for football season. I'll charge you $1,000 a month. And they've been with me 10 years and they've expanded twice. They went from 1,100 to 2,200, and now they're in 4,500, paying market rents, killing it in revenue. And they started as a pop-up where I found them canvassing. And then recently, I know you've heard the story of my hobby store during COVID. I thought that toys were going to be a big hit during December of 2020, since kids didn't have birthday parties. Amazon was backed up with deliveries and Toys R Us had just closed. And I thought if I could get a toy store in my shopping center, the last minute parents would flock to my property for toys, because Amazon toys and, the shipping, all of that was a problem. And I thought that parents would overspend on their kids. I didn't get a toy store, but I did get the hobby store, which not only did they do a lease after the 3 months, and with them, I did no rent for 3 months. Remember, this was in COVID. I did no rent for 3 months, October, November, December. And then they signed a 3-year lease. They just renewed that 3-year lease and expanded. So they went from 1,000 square feet to 1,500 square feet. So very excited. So I have 4 vacancies. I doubt I'm going to lease the vacancies before January. Even if I signed a lease tomorrow. In fact, I'm working with a hair salon that I might sign next week. I'm going to get a lease out probably tomorrow, and let's say they sign in the next week or two. They don't want to open until January. They don't want to open in the middle of holidays, a second salon. So I've got 4 vacancies. So I have been reaching out to toy stores, tennis stores, sneaker stores, saying, hey, do you want space for the holiday season in my very highly trafficked shopping center with mega revenues of sales revenues from my tenants for free? All you have to do, you have to give me a deposit. You have to pay the utilities on the space for the 3 months, and you take it as is, and you need to have enough merchandise to stock it and someone to staff it, which frankly, in the last 3 years, the staffing has been the biggest problem when I've thrown this idea out. So I'm very excited that I reached out to a snow ski equipment and clothing place that has a bunch of locations in my market, and made them the offer. And I got an email today saying, when can we speak tomorrow? I'm so excited. I would love it. And again, if they don't do well and they don't renew, no harm, no foul. The space would have been empty anyway. So at the very least, it brings a whole different clientele to my shopping center for 90 days. And with them being like snow ski, I probably will be happy to do and it's already October 16th. So maybe I do a November 1st through March 1st, and I let them go over a little bit, and with a right, maybe a 30-day right to kick them out if I get a tenant that wants their space, right? Since they're a pop-up. So my suggestion to all of you, if you have vacancy and you have a leasing team or you lease it yourself, and you're not going to lease it between now and January. So why not look around your market and find a pure play retailer, someone that's got merchandise. Maybe if you're across from a hospital, maybe a beauty supply. Now that doesn't really go with the holiday thing, right? I'm thinking sneakers, toys, snow suits, tennis, gifts, but they kind of need to be destination, because if it's a complete impulse tenant, meaning, they need to have millions of people to buy their tchotchke, then that's not going to work. It really kind of needs to be somewhat of a destination. Pickleball, tennis, toys, things that people would want to buy. Maybe a pop-up. I just read about Donald Trump has a pop-up in the LAX airport. So, but maybe you could have a pop-up for your local team. Maybe like if you owned a shopping center in Duke, North Carolina, you could do a pop-up Duke basketball clothing, space. And people could come and buy things for their Duke lovers for Christmas or the holidays or Hanukkah. So that is my idea. If you're listening to this in December, then bookmark it for next year. But this is a suggestion for today, for this week. Tell your leasing team, tell your leasing agent, you go out and find some folks and say, hey, come take space for 3 months free. What do you have to lose? And in the opposite vein, look what you possibly could get could gain. Like me, my 4,500 square foot Canesware tenant started as a pop-up. My 1,500 square foot hobby store started as a pop-up. So good luck. Let me know if you take on the idea and if you have any success. But I really like this idea and I think it's got legs. So try it. Let me know. Have a great week.